Watkins. I'm from the City of Detroit Office of Contracting and Procurement. Today is Monday, September 23rd, and this is the second pre-bid conference for RFP 184945 for the Construction and Demolition Department Abatement Services. Just to go over the agenda. Okay, so first, I just want to say once we get to the question and answer period, if you would give your name, your company, but for now, go ahead and sign into the chat with your name, your company, and email so we can have your information. And I've already let you know that this is being recorded. The recording will be shared. The first pre-bid conference recording has been shared, so you all have access to that. I do want to announce that the due date for questions has been pushed back to, I believe it's this Thursday, the 26th. So prior to that, I believe the questions due date might have been last Friday. I don't remember, but I did push back the question due date another few days for those of you who are joining today and may have additional questions that you are not able to ask or that are not asked during this conference. So now what I would like to do is turn it over to my colleagues in construction and demolition for them to introduce themselves. Then I'll kick it back to me. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Nick.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Nick Payne. I'm with Planning and Strategy with the Construction Demolition Department. And next, it looks like we have Tim and Al on from our department. So they can introduce themselves.
My name is Al Dyer. I'm the Environmental Due Diligence Manager. So pretty much everything that goes through the abatement starts with me. Thanks.
Tim Palazzolo, Deputy Director, Construction Demolition.
Okay, is that everyone? All right, great. Thank you. Okay, so let me go to this next slide here. So we've gone over the calls being recorded. You are encouraged to ask questions once we open the floor up for that. And you can also enter your questions into the chat if you're unable or unwilling to speak on camera. All verbal responses to questions provided today are unofficial until they're documented in writing as an official response in the supplier portal. Submit any additional questions in the supplier portal, and we will respond to all bidders via the supplier portal. So as I stated earlier, your due date to submit questions in the portal is this Thursday, the 26th by 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure your portal is set to that. And we want to make sure that all your questions are being forwarded through the portal via email, but definitely through the portal. And that is because we need transparency. All questions are going to be published. All answers are going to be published in a document after this Thursday, and everyone's going to be able to see everyone's questions and each corresponding answer to those questions. So we just, for greater transparency, we ask that you send all your questions through the portal. So the project background is the City of Detroit Office of Contracting and Procurement, on behalf of the Construction and Demolition Department, requests proposals from qualified respondents to render certain technical or professional services as set forth in this RFP to provide the abatement of hazardous regulated materials to perform abatement services. This is the project timeline overview. So the questions due date shown here, I didn't update this. So it was last Tuesday. So again, now it's this Thursday, September 26th by 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is the information that's also currently in Oracle. I've already stated all questions must be submitted online. Your answers are going to be distributed just a few days after that. Proposals are currently due Monday, October 7th, 2024 by 3:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I just want to reiterate that as a supplier, please make sure your portal is set to Eastern Standard Time. That's not the default setting, so I want you to make sure that that's set correctly, because if you happen to submit your proposal according to the wrong time, you may not be able to submit your proposal. So make sure that that's done as soon as possible. The work schedule is that your work start date is going to be pending city council approval and issuance of a PO. And so we don't have a set time for that. Approvals take varying times. So just so you know that. Evaluation criteria are here. Previous experience and references, 30 points, capacity, 20 points, and price, 15, for a total of 65. Then if you have certifications from our Office of Civil Rights, Inclusion, and Opportunity, you can earn additional points with those certifications. You can earn a total of 15 points if you are if you're a Detroit headquartered business. If you're a Detroit-based business, that also helps. You'll get 5 points for that. And then if you're working with subcontractors who have certifications, you can get a maximum of 20 points. If you have certifications or if your subcontractors have certifications, I need those certifications included with your proposal before the due date, and make sure those certifications are current. So if they're expired, do not send them. Make sure they're current, and they will have to be included with your proposal before the deadline. This is the required proposal content and format. This is found in the RFP. You need a letter transmittal. That letter needs to contain a statement that your proposal is good for 120 days. You need to complete attachments A, B, C, D1 and D2, E, F, G, and H. Make sure that you're completing all of these attachments completely and accurately. Double check everything before you submit. Then these are the oh, it's the second page of attachments here, I'm sorry. Affidavit of disclosure of interest, anti-lobbying amendment, debarment and suspensions affidavit, non-collusion, and certificate of insurance. Please keep in mind that at least 2 of these affidavits require notarization, so watch that. And then the certificate of insurance, and we would like you to furnish your proof of insurance, and you'll need to see your the required coverages and the model contract that's also included with the RFP. And again, I have a statement here. Please confirm the accuracy and completeness of your proposal before submitting. Make sure that it is an acceptable format. We prefer PDF. If there are a couple of items that you have as image files, that's acceptable, but not for the entire proposal, please. All right, I cannot have an entire proposal of image files. PDFs will help. Here is the RFP attachment list, and what I've done is I've made the text red for the things that you need to actually complete and return to us. The other items in black are just for your reference, okay? So there's that. If you need me to go back to this, I will. I'm done at this point, so I thank you for your time and attention. I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to construction and demolition.
All right, thank you, Jamila. All right, so as Jamila stated, City of Detroit is seeking qualified vendors to perform the abatement of hazardous and regulated materials in order to perform safe and compliant demolitions and renovations. I did want to also go over some of the minimum qualifications that we're looking for under this RFP. Minimum experience, we are looking for a vendor who has 5 years experience providing abatement services of a similar scope and size. We're looking for experience from a vendor who's performed 20 planned abatements on residential properties within the City of Detroit over the last 5 years. 5 planned commercial abatements within the City of Detroit over the last 5 years. And 5 professional references of previous experience completed within the last 5 years. Regarding your personnel, respondents must employ qualified personnel to perform and execute any and all aspects of the scope of services. Personnel must possess all necessary accreditations, licenses, endorsements, certifications required by any applicable law, regulation, rule, or industry standard. This should include, but is not limited to, you must have a valid state of Michigan asbestos abatement contractor license. All of your field workers must possess current and valid MIOSHA accreditations, and at least one field worker must possess a valid state of Michigan asbestos inspector license. In addition, respondents must submit their National Voluntary Laboratory Accreditation Program accreditation in response to this RFP. And then finally, respondents must have industry knowledge and professional relationships of all applicable federal, state, and local regulation and authorities. This should include, but is not limited to, AHIRA, NESHAP, MIOSHA, OSHA, NIOSH, NAREPA, and RCRA. And as far as agencies, they must have relationships with EGLE and MIOSHA. The City of Detroit Construction Demolition Department is seeking to make 3 awards as a result of this RFP. However, we do reserve the right to award as many or as few awards pending our evaluation. All right, moving on. As Jamila stated, the RFP is kind of divided into 2 sections. You have your exhibits and you have your attachments. Exhibits are meant to provide you with the information regarding the services we are requesting, and the attachments are all documents we expect to be completed and returned in with your proposal. The first exhibit we ask all of our respondents to familiarize themselves with is our scope of services. Please review the scope in detail. It'll provide you with all the information you need to know regarding the services we're requesting. It is divided into kind of 3 main categories as it relates to the services. We have our section on starting at section 3, pre-abatement due diligence. Section 4 will walk you through the abatement and debris removal and transportation and disposal requirements. And section 5 will be discovery of new or additional materials or quantities. We really just want to make sure everyone reads through those 3 sections specifically, and definitely familiarize yourself with the document in its entirety. I'm going to share my screen for this next one. All right, so this item on the screen, Exhibit B, is our sample quick quote form. We envision multiple awards being made under this contract. And as properties come up needing abatement, we anticipate posting what we call a quick quote or a QQ using this format. We'll list the properties out and include links to the hazardous and regulated material surveys for each property. And we're going to ask that you provide your pre-abatement due diligence, your abatement price, your post-abatement air monitoring, post-abatement and PAV costs in the first 4 columns below for each property listed. In column 5, we're requesting that you provide the estimated number of calendar days from an abatement start date to post-abatement verification request date, essentially to create a proposed schedule for how long you anticipate taking to complete the abatement of that property. Next, you'll see tab 3 will ask that you provide bid quantity information for each of the properties listed as well. This will just be a simple material description, the survey quantity, and the quantity you're bidding on removing from each property. The city will assign work under quick quotes at our sole discretion. The following factors may be used to evaluate awards. First, we'll look to price and reasonableness of the proposed vendors' pricing and work schedules. We'll take into consideration all current and pending assignments that the company has for abatement, current and pending non-city abatement work that we know is going on with the company, and available contract authority as well. Moving on to our final exhibit is Exhibit C, which is a draft data and data documentation policy that we ask everyone to review and familiarize yourselves with to understand what data will be required be uploaded as a result of this RFP. Moving on to our attachments, Attachment A, we are requesting resumes or CVs from any member of your company's leadership team. All resumes and CVs must include the employee's current title, their work employment history, any professional licenses or accreditations they have, as well as their education and training. Attachment B is staff roster. We ask that you provide for every employee that may be completing work under this RFP, you provide their name, their residency information, if they're W-2 or a 1099 worker, years of relevant experience, if they have a CDL, and then any MIOSHA accreditations that they have. And this section is divided up among your admin, project managers, supervisors, and laborers, and then finally inspectors. So those are the categories we ask that you place your staff in to complete your staff roster. Attachment C will be your equipment truck trailer list and any lease or rental information. So we want to be sure that you guys pay close attention to the 4 tabs listed at the bottom of the sheet. Tab 1 will be requesting truck and trailer information and a listing of any air handlers that you have that you may be using if awarded work under this RFP. Tab 2 is where you can provide your leasing or rental information if you are leasing and renting any of the equipment or vehicles that you may be using. Tab 3, if you're utilizing any trucking services, we ask that you list them out and under this tab. And finally, tab 4 is disposal services. Please list the facilities that you will be taking and disposing any material abated to basically what landfills. Attachment D is divided up into D1 and D2. In this section is where we request that you provide your 5 projects of relevant experience for abatement work completed within the city of Detroit over the last 5 years. Under this section, if you could just provide the addresses you performed the work, who you performed them for, your term of performance, start date, completion date, and the contract amount and final contract amount. That'll be divided, like I said, between residential and commercial. Attachment E is the fee schedule for each year of the contract. We ask that you provide your cost using the various unit of measures for pre-abatement due diligence, mobilization, personnel, waste disposal, post-abatement air monitoring, PAV, and any markup on any subcontracted services used under this contract. Please note specifically under waste disposal, the fees are divided between 40-yard containers and per tire costs. And finally, we have citations, litigation, lawsuits, and legal proceedings. If you have any citations, violations, consent judgment or orders, litigation, lawsuit, or legal proceedings that are pending or have been issued, please document them on attachment F. And I know I just went over a lot of documents and information, so I definitely wanted to pause and open it up for any questions that you may have.
Becky Hutchins with Homrich. I have several questions on the equipment attachment C. When you get to the disposal, it has like a drop-down box. I think it doesn't allow you to choose something, as you just have to say type of service is other. It's debris transport, backfill, or other. So you have to select other for all of them. So that's my first question on that one. And then you just want
select other for that one.
Yeah. So you just want landfills on here. You don't want like tire disposal, universal disposal for chemicals, or
Now, please include those disposal companies as well. Any facility you may be disposing of material abated or removed under this RFP, please include on tab 4.
Okay. Rentals, I'm like when we did our RFQ for pre-qualification for the city, I just included a sampling of our rental contracts for whatever, job trailers, porta-johns, you name it. And I mean, it's an extensive list. I couldn't. So that's how I'm planning to do it this time.
Yeah, I think primarily I would include a rental of any equipment relevant to the services offered under this RFP. So basically trucks, trailers, air handlers, things of that nature.
Okay, we don't rent trucks and trailers and stuff like that. All right.
Then yeah, that's fine. If you own all of that, then you wouldn't need to provide any rental information.
Like in planned residentials, there's just like so many projects. I just said so many for this group and so many for that group. And do you want to see like 20 individual properties, or can you just say groups?
You could say group and number of properties within the group. If it was, I'm assuming you're talking about like a bond group under our program. If you did like bond group D, we abated 30 residential properties, that would suffice.
Okay, and in the scope, it says post abatement error monitoring is as required, as directed by the owner. So under current work, you would contact the survey company. Are we to arrange our own third party?
Yeah.
Yes?
No,
No, okay.
no, you need to, and I might be misquoting the scope, but I'm pretty sure it says you need to submit the request for the post-abatement error monitoring in the form and manner stipulated by us. But we will pay for the post-abatement error monitoring.
Okay, so pricing wise, you're just asking us to say what our fee is to go there and do the PAV.
Well, to do, I mean, you have your own work related to the post-abatement error monitoring. We expect you to
Right.
tell us what that cost is for you. Yes. But not
right.
for the actual post-abatement error monitoring itself. That will be paid by us.
Got it. Trying to think if I had any other questions. That's it for me, I guess.
All right. Does any of the other vendors on the call have any questions? MWV or City Abatement? Or James, I see you have one.
No, sir. Becky covered them all.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
On the quick quote, the sample quick quote, we're not to fill that out, right? That's just to see.
Not for this RFP. If you're awarded work under this RFP, we'll likely batch properties in the form and manner, kind of, as this is just kind of like a sample to show you what we would likely do if you're awarded work. But yeah, we'd solicit your pricing for those 4 main categories and proposed schedule for the purpose of evaluating the award. All right.
Were there
Oh,
were
go
there
ahead.
any other questions? Or were you done, Nick, or were you about to go on?
No, I'm all set.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Not at this time.
Okay. All right. And as we stated earlier, if you happen to think of something after this call, definitely send that question in through the supplier portal. So we weren't here long, just like the first one. We wrapped it up in under 30 minutes. So if that is all, thank you very much for attending today. Thank you for your attention and participation. And we look forward to receiving your proposals.
Thanks for your
Have
time.
a good afternoon. Thank
You too.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.